the Allies possessed went head-to-head with the most destructive tank ever built, Germany's Panzerkampfwagen 6, the Tiger. The Normandy campaign involved 7,000 tanks and changed the course of history. But which of these two was superior? We're going to settle the matter once and for all. But for the D-Day landings, Allied commanders needed a tank to take on the Tiger, and the Sherman was the best they had. And that's why there was an enormous disparity in size and power between the two tanks' guns, not to mention the rounds they fired. Just look at these shells. This is the 75mm diameter round of the Sherman. Okay, that looks pretty scary, but take a look at this monster. This is the 88mm round that the Tiger fired. The damage caused by one of these was absolutely devastating. In short, the Tiger's gun was bigger and more powerful in every way, capable of destroying a Sherman. To keep the Sherman lighter, the Americans used much thinner armor. In fact, almost half the thickness of the Tigers. To show the difference this makes, we've come to an ordnance testing range on Salisbury Plain. We've set up an experiment to replicate the effects of a direct hit from an 88mm round on the 2-inch thick side armor plating of a Sherman tank. But the real story is the potential damage to the crew inside, represented by these targets. We've also set up high-speed video cameras to record the impact and show how well the armor stands up to the modern equivalent of a Tiger's deadly firepower. Take a look at this.
Confirm range clear all round.
Range clear all round, video ready.
Stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, the effects are devastating. The armor plating's just too thin to withstand the awesome power from an armor-piercing round fired from a gun like the Tiger's 88. It's punched straight through. And as for the crew, the high explosive and metal have sliced right through the crew and out the other side. Tiger tanks mainly fired armor-piercing shells, which would penetrate the skin of the Sherman. Then, a hard metal core would bounce around the interior. But stories of Shermans taking out Tigers with their comparatively small 75mm guns were few and far between. That was until a British innovation turned the Sherman into a tank that could challenge the Tiger head-on. The Firefly.
The Firefly was a last-minute, desperate attempt to put a really decent gun into the Sherman tank. And the British had available the 17-pounder, which was more or less equivalent to the Tiger's 88mm. They tried to put it into the Sherman, found it wouldn't fit. And in the end, ingeniously, they got it fitted into the turret by doing a 90 degrees twist, and they were able to insert it into the rather smaller turret of the Sherman.
This is the Sherman as it was originally developed with a 75mm gun. This is the Sherman Firefly with a 17-pounder anti-tank gun. The pea shooter, the tank killer.
That ought to give them something to think about.
But it was too little too late. The Sherman Firefly was never built in big numbers, mainly because the Americans were reluctant to fit a foreign gun in their tanks. Only 1 in 4 British Shermans ever housed the Tiger-killing 17-pounder. But there were other areas where the Sherman was beginning to gain superiority over the Tiger. At almost twice the weight of the Sherman, the Tiger could only reach a top speed of 23 miles per hour. The Sherman was much faster and could go places the larger Tiger would just get stuck in.